His High Exaltedness, the great Jabba the Hutt, has decreed that you are to be terminated immediately.
Good, I hate long waits.
You remember this guy? No, not C-3PO. I mean this guy, clinging to the wall of Jabba's palace. This slug-like creature was named Wol Cabasshite, or later on referred to as Goel, and in fact, I made an entire Jabba's Palace roll call video about him, detailing his backstory and all the merchandise that's been created for him. But recently there's been a new development that prompted me to make this video. Regal Robot's making a replica of the original concept maquette that they used to create this character in Return of the Jedi. If you have watched the Jabba's Palace roll call video I just mentioned, you'll know that I didn't actually mention the concept maquette anywhere in that video, and that's just because I didn't know about it at the time. And that's a little too bad because I think you could argue that the concept maquette, and who made it, is one of the most interesting things about this character. They used a lot of maquettes in the production of Return of the Jedi. Maquettes, of course, are small statues that are used to kind of either create or flesh out a character, figure out what it looks like in three-dimensional space. Lots of members of the crew, even people who had other jobs on set, were asked to make these maquettes, and then George Lucas would choose from them, figure out which ones he liked, what parts he wanted changed, and so forth, and then they were used to sculpt and create the full-sized creatures and costumes that were used in the film. The concept maquette for Wol Cabasshite, otherwise known as Low Overhead at that point, was created by none other than Joe Johnston. It's hard to overstate how influential Mr. Johnston was on the look of Star Wars. His concept artwork and storyboards were just amazing. He's credited with the creation of a huge number of iconic designs from Star Wars, including the Millennium Falcon, the AT-AT, the Star Destroyer, the Blockade Runner, which you can see him working on here, as well as Boba Fett, who started out as sort of a super stormtrooper and then evolved into the bounty hunter we know today, but didn't really veer that far from Mr. Johnston's original concept. Honestly, just his involvement with Boba Fett would be enough to make him Star Wars royalty with many people, but it doesn't stop there. He received an Academy Award for his work on Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then went on to become a director in his own right, directing things like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, The Rocketeer, Jumanji, and later on, Captain America: The First Avenger. These are all fantastic movies. I remember Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was a particular favorite at my house. When you consider all the things he's done, it's a little ironic that we're talking about him in conjunction with this tiny minor character that he created, but he did also create a couple other concept maquettes for Jedi, including Leia as the bounty hunter and the perimeter droid, otherwise known as the Bomar Monk, which in its prototype form only had 4 legs, but otherwise was fairly similar to what we saw on screen. But I don't know if they're ever going to make replicas of those particular concept maquettes, so let's look at the one they are making.
So here's the actual maquette itself. Now you can see, if you compare it to what we saw on screen, or also to the Sideshow Collectibles figure that they released, the 1/6 scale figure, that the original version is different in several ways from those versions. We can see there's different coloration on this. This is more of a yellow fading to a white, whereas on screen they used more of a blood red for the tongue. It's also got a different shape on the end here. It's got kind of I don't know if this is meant to be like a crab claw kind of thing, or just another appendage that he can use as a grasping tool or something, but it is quite different than the flipper-like ending that they had on the one on screen. The actual body itself is not that different, although coloration, again, it's lighter. But, it's definitely recognizable. Now, in my previous video, in the Jabba's Palace roll call video about Goel, I was a little confused when I showed the Hasbro figure of Wol Cabasshite, because it had this similar kind of appendage, even though they used the darker red coloration, and I think they were probably using this as the inspiration. I'm not entirely sure why they went back to the concept maquette for that, because it's clearly not what we saw on screen, but it's kind of an interesting little tidbit of trivia. Now, the thing I really like about this is, if we look here, you can see he's got actual pupils in his eyes, whereas the other versions, and I think probably the one that we saw on screen, does not have any kind of pupils. They're just kind of dead-looking eyes. And if you look at it right from here, it really looks like an old man with a mustache, kind of a grumpy expression on his face. I don't know if these might be his little legs or something. I thought it was pretty funny. So that's another difference. But aside from that, yeah, it's fairly close to what we got on screen. So, like most of these releases in the archive collection, this is going to be divided into 2 editions. There is a numbered edition, which comes with the maquette and a number plaque. That's going to be limited to 100 pieces and will cost $249. But it will also be available in a special signature edition with Joe Johnston's signature, which is actually pretty special for this kind of collectible. Actually, I'm not sure he's ever done anything quite like this. He has a distinctive signature. I mean, it's different from his vintage signature that he used on sort of his, concept artwork and so forth, but he uses this printed signature with the Joe up on another line, which, it's supposed to look like this. That's what they all look like. But anyway, this one is going to be limited to only 83 pieces for 1983, of course. And this one will be $399. Now, I'm told that they've actually managed to make all of these ahead of time, so if you're ordering them, it's not going to be a situation where you have to wait weeks or months or something to get yours shipped to you. It should be quite quick. These are both going to be going up for sale on the 15th of April, so that's tomorrow as I upload this video at noon Eastern Time. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I would say I have a hunch that the Joe Johnston Signature Edition is not going to last very long, in particular. Anyway, I will put a link in the video description if you're interested in looking at the Regal Robot website. And that's about it for today. Thanks very much for watching.